Welcome back, everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. We're taping this on Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving in the United States. Radina Drandova, who's our wonderful guest, is in the UK. So I don't know. Does UK have Thanksgiving? I should have looked that up.
I am not sure actually. We don't celebrate it. I don't think they do as well. But I'm pretty sure that some people do. So
Yeah,
I just don't want to say a big word yes or no because I don't celebrate it personally, no.
I get it. Well, so in the United States, there's a tradition on the last Thursday of November of each year. We have a Thanksgiving holiday, which families normally get together. Not this year due to COVID. Get together and they give thanks for what happened during the year, and it's a nice holiday, and it kind of kicks off this whole beautiful holiday season with Christmas and New Year's. So it's
Yeah.
my
Happy
favorite.
Thanksgiving.
Thank you so much. And it's my favorite time of the year. So I really enjoy this particular time of the year. Anyway, so we're taping this on Thanksgiving. This is morning for me. This is evening for Radina. So thank you for making the
Yeah.
time for it. And I wanted to talk to you because, again, a lot of people are finding out about you based on the movie that you and your friend just shot called Host. I will say right off the bat, I heard that it's one of the scariest movies ever. Horror is not my genre. I will definitely not be watching it, but I want to ask you questions from the acting perspective because that part is interesting to me.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, I'm a scaredy cat, so anything like that is just not something that I will enjoy. Getting freaked out is not on my list of things that are really qualifying as fun. Let's put it that way. But
No, that's absolutely fine. I used to be the same. I'm really bad with horror films, but then after doing this and after knowing the director Rob Savage and the co-writer and co-producer Jet Shepard, who are also really good friends of mine, they kind of guiding me slowly into it. So I'm beginning to be immune. So I'm watching like really, really good stuff.
yeah.
With good stories. But yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I was exactly the same before this film.
Yeah, and I was listening and kind of reading in my background. I knew I was that in order to get you and the your co-stars ready for the movie, they had you watch Paranormal Activity. They had you watch a few other films. Like that
Yeah.
alone would have been like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be involved in this project for me. Yeah,
Yeah, we watched the Blair Witch Project as well, Paranormal Activity 3, and also during the this is like more of the acting side of it. Before each take, Rob
yeah.
would select like really scary clips or like scenes from horror films that he knows that nobody has seen, or a lot of people have seen but like I haven't, and he would just play us these like 5-minute scenes to get us in the mood, and it was just like, oh god, it was just so awful. But yeah, but it got us in the mood though.
Yeah, and that goes into some of the acting questions I wanted to ask you about. Of you know, I've seen a few kind of clips, and I've seen the trailer. It's enough for me. But in terms of kind of being there and getting there as an actor, so you just mentioned that the 5-minute clips before certainly helped get you into that mode. But what else worked? I mean, this anytime when you have to be on this dramatic spectrum of emotions, you're going to need to go into that well all the time. So I don't know how many takes you were doing, but was it always there, or just that initial 5 minutes was good enough to get you into the proper, emotional space?
Well, it was a few different things that we did because we're essentially in our homes acting
Yeah,
against the screen, so there's nothing else to react on. I mean, the girls are absolutely lovely, like they're all fantastic actresses, and Rob Savage
yeah,
is an amazing director. So Rob is a fan of many, many, many takes. So he would, even if he gets it on the 5th take, he would do 10 more just to be safe, just to make sure that he's got it.
Yeah.
It was a bit different in terms of there wasn't really a script. We had a script mint, so we had like bullet points, like point A, point B, point C, and how we get to these points, it was all improvised.
Great.
So we kind of kept it really fresh, because every time we would improvise something different, we would say different things, and by the end we actually didn't know what the film was going to look like, because we said so many things, we actually had no idea what would make it and what didn't. So I think we had like 180 hours worth of footage. Yeah, so yeah, a big shout out to our editor, Brenna. She's just incredible what she did. So yeah, on the day we did different things. Like once I remember Rob was like, okay, the energy needs to be up, so he played Dancing Queen, ABBA, and he got us all to like dance in our living rooms, just get the energy up. Yeah, the horror scenes really work to kind of like, you know, after that you kind of look around your house and everything is blacked out, because we've blacked out the light, and it's like really dark, so it kind of gets you into that vibe of like, okay, it's, you know, something's going on. But yeah, and to be honest, big shout out to my girls, to all the rest of the girls from Host, because they're incredible actresses. And it is very helpful to have something to, you know, to that connection to come back at you.
And you've worked together before, at least on, you know, when I was looking at kind of the projects that you were doing, I've seen some of the same names and faces on, you know, 1, 2, maybe 3 different productions. So I think that chemistry that you already had developed was certainly, you know, evident.
Yeah, I've worked with Haley and Caroline on a film called Dawn of the Deaf with Rob Savage again. So that connection was there. Haley and Caroline also went to the same drama school, so we've seen each other act so many times. We were very, very familiar. Gemma also graduated from the same high school. And then Emma, I met both of them. We acted on Jed Shepard's film called Multiplex, which is not out yet, but it's coming out. I know he's he has a plan for it. So that's, I think all of the girls are in that one, actually. All of the girls are in Jed's film in Multiplex. But yeah, so we were, it was a very safe space to experiment, because I didn't feel any pressure to, you know, oh, will they judge me? Oh, what if I suck? What if I didn't get it? You know, oh God. There was none of that. It was just, okay, let's just be silly now. Let's just try something different. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll get it next time. And it was a very, very safe space to just try out everything. So yeah, the support has been great.
And that's where I think, again, the, you know, what you were just mentioning, having multiple takes and having many takes as the director likes it, that actually is a great tool, because it really allows you to experiment and allows you to ground yourself in the character and find that way. You know, for some people, they get on set and, you know, take one, they're already there. Other people, it takes them a little while to kind of feel their way around. I'm more on the latter of, I have an idea, I want to try things out. Okay, this works, I want to go here. So I'd like a few takes to find my way. So multiple takes is heaven for me. I love that.
Yeah, it was a very collaborative process. Everybody contributed to making the film.
Yeah, the improv certainly helped, and that's where, again, shooting a movie over Zoom, from a technical perspective, it is a difficult process. From, you know, connecting perspective, it's a difficult process. So I remember you mentioning in, you know, one of the interviews that you've done, that the way that they were shooting is you had your, you know, laptops, but then you were taping a phone. So were you actually looking at the phone, and then kind of Zoom was, you know, the group of girls? What was, from the technical perspective, how was that done?
So we were actually all on Zoom, on the Zoom meeting. So the way, but we didn't use the laptop camera or that footage of the camera. Basically what we did, we got sent iPhones, which were empty, so it has more memory. and we stuck them at the back of our laptops, and made sure that like the camera of the phone is exactly this, like above the camera of the laptop. So the footage that was used at the end was all from the phone. But I had no idea what it was. I needed to like get the laptop down, press record on the phone, and put it back, and then we would just act everything over Zoom, because we would just have a Zoom meeting throughout the whole thing. And yeah, so that's how we made it work. I mean, we pressed record on every single piece of device, you know. Everybody recorded on Zoom as well, just to make sure that, or at least I know our producer Douglas Cox definitely did, maybe Rob. Just on the safety side. And then we had, by the end of the day, we have so much footage, so much that we needed to make sure that it's on our phones, we needed to make sure that it's on a hard drive, and we needed to make sure that it's on a save file in Dropbox, which was actually, like, the technical side of it was actually pretty painful, because it just takes hours and hours, and especially for someone who's not that you know, good with technology, or who's like, I've never done this before in my life, like it just takes so much time. But yeah, it was worth it in the end. It was all worth it.
Very cool. Last few bits on host, and then we'll move on. Your boyfriend, you know, Alan Emrys, who is also a guest on the show, is a wonderful actor. He got a chance to be on host because, again, we're all shooting at home, and you know, he's at home. So was that a thing that was meant to be, or it was like, hey, we can use Ellen as well? How did that come about?
I think, I can't remember who got the idea of like, hey, we can use Alan, but like basically what started is they said we want to do the film with these girls. Right. What do you have at home that we can use? So I was like, well, I have a boyfriend we can use, who's also an actor. So, you know, it's handy. So one of the girls who was like, oh, that's actually really cool. Yes, we'll add Alan. There's going to be like a tension there. I think that was Rob's decision in the end to use him. We didn't know how much we were going to use him in the beginning. But yeah, and in the end ended up not being so much. But I feel like that was better for the story, because it's such a 1 hour, like 1 hour, you don't have much time to say everything. But yeah, and also Alan did help with a lot of other technical stuff during the shoot. I'm not going to say anything because it's spoilers, but Haley Bishop had her partner in the house as well, and he helped massively with being a DOP and setting up lights and doing some of the tricks. And so we kind of used what we had at home.
I just love the idea of, what do you have at your home? Well, I have a boyfriend. Yeah. And then, because again, everything was shot at home, and because this is a horror movie that, again, is a really, really, really scary horror film, what was it like actually being at home when you were not shooting? Did you was it easy to go to sleep, or did you have to kind of, you know, take candles and then sage and kind of burn all the energy before you go to bed? What was going on?
I'm actually pretty cool, because I don't believe in ghosts. So for me, that was, and I knew that how everything was done technically, so I had no fear of that. But some of the other girls did, like, I think Emma had a difficult time sleeping. Gemma definitely saged her house, I think, every time. So yeah, they had a bit of a panic moment. And you know why that is? I'll tell you why that is. Because they didn't tell us that, you know, the medium that comes sailing. They actually told us that she's a real medium who also happens to be an actress. And she's not. She's just an actress, but we had no idea. So every time, you know, when she opens a seance, every time the girls were like, oh, maybe we should close the seance, you know, maybe we should just, you know, like, how do we close it, because we're, you know, we're worried. And then she would pretend every time, oh, okay, right, yeah, let's, you know, breathe in, breathe out, you know, imagine this, imagine that. And then just when the film was finished, that's when they told us, well, actually, she's an actress, she was never a medium. And we were like, great, thanks. Just to get that extra like fear of, oh my god, it's actually an open seance, you know, what could come.
That's not nice. I appreciate it, but that's just that's a dirty trick. I'm a medium, so I've had I don't do seances, things like that, but I have mediumship experiences where
Okay.
there were things that freaked me out when I was connecting and tuning in. So for me, kind of this whole idea, it goes way deeper into of when you're a medium, how you protect yourself, the type of kind of energy that you're using to ensure that you're connecting to the highest, and not to the things that would happen in host. Like that to me is like, yeah, that's another reason why I'm not gonna watch the the film, because it's too close to home. Anyway, that's funny, but
Fair enough.
I did find it interesting that, again, you're on this end right now in host, and you played a palm reading gypsy, so you kind of you were on
Yeah.
the opposite end of the spectrum a little bit. So all of the kind of looking at your demo reel and videos, I didn't see any comedic roles. I saw a lot of drama, and you're really a really good dramatic actress. I did not There wasn't
Thank you.
anything that I saw that I did not buy. It was
Thank you.
really really well done. So I'm impressed, and I mean that sincerely. Do you want to get to do more comedy, or people really go to you for drama?
Oh, interesting.
Mm,
I would love to do more comedy, but I do know that that's not my strong side. It's comedy is really hard, and I
mm,
have so much respect for good comedy actors. It's just how they do what they do and it is a lot about discipline as well. I'm not saying that I'm not disciplined, but like it's just really hard. I would love to learn more about that craft. Yes,
mm,
and yeah, I think people do come to me more for dramatic roles. I'm not sure why. I think something to do with I think starting off in Bulgaria, I did go to drama school in Bulgaria,
mm,
but I did physical theater there. And not to say that we don't do comedy at all. Of course, we have lovely comedic actors and
mm,
actresses. But it's very like Stanislavski based. So
yeah,
and uh very Russian influenced, where like Russian theater, hi, yeah, like Russian theater, it's all about like I'm gonna
mm,
die on stage in the drama. Um Not only, but
right.
mostly. So I think maybe that's like, yeah, that kind of maybe influenced me to just go more that way. uh well, such a fun, nobody's ever asked me that. This is what I'm having a difficult time answering.
No.
And also the type of roles that are available to Eastern European actors in the UK, and I imagine in America as well, it's very limited. Unfortunately, it's very
Mm,
limited. Um, that's why I'm super happy to see Maria Bakalova, who is in Borat too.
yep.
She's a Bulgarian actress, and that's
Mm,
like she did a fantastic job. Like huge congratulations. And she even said in an interview that she did, I think New York Times, she mentioned this doesn't happen to Bulgarian actors, because usually there's just a small role with one or two lines, and it's usually Eastern European prostitute or a mafia guy if you're a guy.
yeah.
And sadly, it is true. I tend to notice it with some of my Eastern European friends, or like the amounts of castings that I get.
Mhm.
And actually, with after host, that has changed a little bit for me. Like the types of casting that I receive are different, and it's interesting characters, they're more complex,
Mhm.
um, things that I would love to work on. Not that Eastern European prostitute can be very complex characters, like I'm not
Yeah.
saying that, but
Right.
yeah.
It's true. And again, I looked at IMDb Pro has their star meter, so your star meter shot up as soon as kind of a host came out. So it really should have expanded, hopefully, the number of opportunities for you. And I know host has been received extremely well for just across in terms of reviews and critical acclaim. So hopefully more things are going to start coming in. But yeah, I'm not surprised with why you're getting approached for dramatic roles, because looking at your reel, yep, she can
Yeah.
handle it, she can do it. That's where I would go. That's why I would think that for me, I've noticed that I get a lot of drama because of my age range. It's anytime with indies, it's that, kind of either dad, business, lawyer, doctor type of thing, or it's
Yeah.
really dramatic. And it's also because they didn't see anything comedic on my reel. So I started to do more kind of student films and indies that allow me to go into comedy, which is what I love doing. And
Mm.
then, people see more of that, and then you can get a little bit more traction. So, do more indies, throw some more comedic stuff in your reel, and maybe that'll help that part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
No, I do genuinely love drama, and I tend to watch more like the
Yeah.
films that I would select. They're really, really heavy. I absolutely love heavy subjects and real stories and something that really like shatters me, and moves me. Like I wouldn't put a comedy on that often. Like I love stand-up comedy, for example. Love stand-up comedians. But like a comedy, I would rarely put something funny on, which is probably again maybe why. It's just I like to do what I'm good at. Like I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm a very good comedy actress. Like for you, for example, if that's what you love doing, of course, then yeah, you should make sure that you put that on your show reel.
Yeah.
For me, I'm gonna slowly maybe get into it when the time is right.
No, and it's being authentic and true to yourself. So if drama
Yeah.
is your thing, absolutely stick to that. By the way, your T-shirt has 1990 and some symbol. Is there a relevance to that number, or just a good shirt?
That's when I'm born, but I don't know. I just like the T-shirt when I bought it, and I was like, yeah, I could represent my year.
Yeah,
Like,
very, very cool. You mentioned Maria Bakalova. I loved Borat too. I've watched it, I don't know, at least 3 times by now since it's come out, and immediately you could see how talented she is, because that's a really difficult role to play. And I come from an improv background, so the improv, dramatic, and comedy are 3 things that she had to combine kind of all in one in high pressure situations. It was really, really impressive.
no, I absolutely agree. I don't think that I would do that role justice. Like if that was offered to me and if I had to do this, I don't think I would have done as good job as she did. Like she was just so naturally good at that.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I don't really know her, to be honest. I didn't know her from Bulgaria. It's the first time that I'm seeing her in Borat.
Mhm.
So I really, really hope to see her more and more into some big or not so big films, but like with some interesting roles to show, yeah, to show her talent, because I think she is very talented.
I agree. And again, so kind of to backtrack, I in on the internet, you see all sorts of different information pieces. Some say that you were born in London. Some say you were born in Bulgaria. So
Really?
I believe that you were born in Bulgaria. But can we clear that part up? Right? You were born in Bulgaria, then you moved to UK.
Yes, I was born in Bulgaria, but I'm very surprised that somewhere it says that. I have never actually checked. I
Yeah,
don't check myself.
I knew that it was misinformation, because again, it said that you were born in London. It said that you're single, you don't have a boyfriend. This was all kind of I think 3 months ago or 4 months ago. Like, yeah, I know that she was definitely she definitely has a boyfriend, because I've had him on my show, and I know that she was born in Bulgaria because I've seen it in other places. So I'm like, okay, whatever. That's just somebody
Yes.
doing not doing research and just putting something out there.
Yeah.
Probably because Host came out and they wanted more publicity for their site. So when did you come to UK?
I moved here, I want to say 7 years ago, I think.
Hmm.
And I moved here because my mother actually was the first person to come here. She got
Okay.
a really like an offer for a job. She's in banking, nothing to do with acting. And then she kind of, said, "Do you want to have a look at, universities here?" Because she knew that I wanted to be at that point 18. I wasn't really sure if acting was what I wanted to do, or musical theater, or some, because I used to sing as well when I was younger. Um, so I moved here then, and I went to musical theater school first because I thought, and I got accepted, and I thought, well, I can sing, I can dance. I want to find out more about acting, and that kind of says it, like it combines all three of them.
Mm-hmm.
And I got accepted, and I didn't like it at all. Like I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like the freedom that I wanted to feel, I guess. And like 2 months into it, I just called my mom and I was like, I don't think this is what I want to do. And she's got really angry. She's like, do you mind figuring it out already, because you are like 20 or something? And I was like, okay. And then I just, sat alone with myself. I was like, what do I really want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought acting, because I've always enjoyed it. So I was like, well, I think I kind of have a feeling that I want to explore that a bit further. And that's when, I applied again to some universities, and I got into Central School of Speech and Drama.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the best decision I've ever made, was to go there and get that. I did DMA acting for screen. And it's thanks to that school and to that year that I just managed to just swim really into what, like, the world that this is, and I realized that I knew so little about the craft, about acting, about everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it was towards the end of the year, actually, when I started to like break and started to deliver something that was coming from like a real place. I was like, right, so this is what I was supposed to be doing. I'm not saying that that's possible every time, but like I now know the process. It was fantastic. So that's 7 years ago. Came to England to study, and it was the best decision that I've ever made.
That's wonderful. So what is that process? Because this is where I love hearing how people get there, and how people get into the character, stay in the character, find that find that freedom within it, and deliver performances. What is it for you?
I think it's a combination of a lot of things, because we tried obviously method acting. There was Meisner introduced. Our tutor was introduced Chekhov very heavily to us.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of like test to see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. I'm not gonna say, oh, I'm a Meisner actor or I'm a method actor, because for me it works differently.
Mm-hmm.
What is the process? That's such an interesting question. I don't really talk about this with anyone. What is the process?
If you're comfortable sharing, if you're not, then
Absolutely, no, I'm more than comfortable. I just need to really think about it, because I don't have like, oh, okay, so let me tell you A, B, C, D.
Yeah.
I think the first thing that I try to do is clear my head.
Yeah.
Of any thoughts. That is after I've done the prep, though. So the first one will be the prep. You get a script. I like reading the script like quite a few times, and doing all the actions and the intentions and the super adjective or whatever, try to figure this person out.
Mm-hmm.
What is the scene about? And I try, if I get a full script for an audition, I read it. I read the full script to understand where is the scene and why does the scene serve the film? Like how does it work for the whole film? And then after, I learn lines kind of easily, to be fair. Like, I don't know, not many people do, but for me, it's kind of, once I get the logic behind what's going on, for me, it's really easy.
Okay.
And then like when it comes to performing, I just try to clear my head. The first thing that I do is, breathe for 5 minutes, just to try and get all other thoughts aside. And then I try to dive into the thoughts of the character, whatever they might be, whatever the situation is for her. And then I do many, many, many takes until like, and sometimes the first take was actually great, and I'm going to go with that one. But I just tend to do different things, try different things. I quite like working with Alan as well, because he's obviously helpful. He's also an actor, but sometimes he can spot things that, like, do you know what's missing? that's missing. And I was like, yes, that is missing. That's what I couldn't figure out. So yeah, I would always read with another actor, because then you have both eyes on the scene. That can contribute to, you know, a better scene. And yeah, and then when it comes to being on set, I guess like that, all of that is still valid, but also I always really try to get to know everyone from the crew. Because especially after doing host, where I have to be my own DOP, sound, you know, art department, everything, you kind of understand the importance of every single person that's there, and their contribution to the film. And so, yeah, I just try to, you know, introduce myself to everyone, get to know everyone, and have conversations with everyone, get to know them. And yeah, just make it a pleasurable experience for everyone.
I got you. Well, thank you for sharing. It's again, it's helpful for us actors to hear what others are doing and to pick up on things. I constantly pick up, and I, you know, change my approach and add. There was a, you know, lovely actress I was speaking with yesterday, Gigi Gustin, who kind of filled in another gap for me. She said that for her, she starts with her own kind of emotional experiences, and then it leads her into the imagination work, and then her own fall away, because by that time she's already in the character. She doesn't need to rely on anything else. So it's kind of, it's a starter to get to the imagination. So that's a very interesting kind of approach and a bridge. Again, you know, there are so many different approaches of, do you use your own, do you not? I prefer not to use my own. I prefer to use imagination. And kind of my jumping off point is an alternate reality version of myself that I start with the same tree, and then I go from there. So everybody has their own approaches, but that's why I love hearing other actors, so we can all kind of grow and get better together.
Yeah, I think it's very important what you just said about your version of yourself.
Yeah.
Because my problem in the beginning, when I first started acting, when I came to Central, and I was self-observing myself all the time, I was you know, that self-watching, of, I don't know how what the term is.
Yep.
And I used to do that a lot. You know, how am I gonna, you know, what are the others gonna think of me? And then I think the thing that actually got me out was when I understood that whatever it is that I'm doing or saying, it's not me. It's a character. And I think that the moment you separate these two things, you're not playing you, you're not saying these things, you're not being this person. I think the moment you have to really separate these two, and then the freedom just comes naturally. Yeah, Radina would never do that. Radina would never dress up like that. She would never say anything like that. You know, she wouldn't get angry to that point. No, she wouldn't. But it's also an opportunity to you as a person, for example, if you don't get angry very often, but you wanted to, and then you have like a scene which is like very fiery, this is an opportunity for you to get that out, you know, to really you know, challenge these things that normally don't go out. Do it now. That's also quite fun to do.
Agreed. That's the opportunity that acting affords all of us, is to explore these different parts and to feel and to you know, to tackle things that we don't get a chance to really play with. I remember in, you know, in one of the drama classes that I was taking, they basically said, look, you know, whatever happens on stage, that's not reality. The stage is your opportunity to do whatever comes to mind, as long as it's not hurting somebody else. That's your safe space. So do it, because once you step out of that, then you're back in the real world. This is not the real world. Do whatever. And that allowed me the freedom to just be, and whatever comes to mind, that's what I was doing. And that helped me tremendously as an actor, because then I was trying to take that onto a set, and obviously within the, you know, being a normal human being and not a jerk, but like, you get into the role, and it's like, yeah, I have the freedom to act as the character would, and that's it.
Exactly.
Perfect. Few more things that are interesting to me. Again, you know, coming into a new country, working in indies, what have you found in terms of a support structure, right? In LA, everybody works some sort of a part-time job to support themselves until they, hopefully get to a point where they don't have to. New York also is fairly good about it. How is London? Are there jobs that understand that you're an actress and then you have to support yourself, but you also have to be available for auditions and shooting?
Yeah, it's a difficult one. Yeah, I've always had a part-time job. I haven't, made it yet or whatever.
Yeah.
I've always had a part-time job. The first thing that I got here was I worked for an agency, and they hired specifically actors and musical theater performers
Mm-hmm.
or artists. And the reason for that was because you could choose the days that you work. And that agency was in retail, so it would be big shopping centers. You would go on makeup counters or perfume counters or clothes or something, and you would help out there. It wasn't fun, let me tell you. It's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
But you do what you got to do. But it did give me a lot of flexibility because I could pick the days that I could work. So I could choose not to work for a whole week if I wanted to, and go on holiday or whatever. Then I worked in a hotel behind reception, and I got a part-time job. And when I did my interview with them, I found out that the general manager of the hotel went to my drama school when he was young.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, no way. And then we started like, oh my God, isn't it the best school? Oh, yes, the best school. And then I think from the start I kind of said, I want a part-time job. I've never been full-time,
Mm-hmm.
because for me, it's also important that my mental health stays okay. If I start working 5 days a week, 8 hours or whatever, I know that I'm going to be very drained. I know that I'm not going to be happy.
Yep.
So I'd rather have less money,
Mm-hmm.
to spend on extras, but to have my free time and my sanity. And then after the hotel reception, I started working in a restaurant as a hostess.
Mm-hmm.
And then coronavirus happened, and they fired a bunch of us, and I was on benefits. But now I'm actually back at the same restaurant that had me back, because they've opened and they need more people, which was very nice, because they didn't fire people on bad terms. They just had to do what they had to do. So now they started hiring again. And but I've always had a part-time job. Yeah.
So the last thing, if you had a chance to go back and talk to the young Radina that was just starting the musical theater and trying to figure it out, and give her one piece of acting advice, what would that be?
One piece of acting advice.
Or acting related, not necessarily acting craft,
Yeah.
life in acting.
I guess it would probably be stop worrying what other people think of you, because it's not important.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. Because whatever comes out needs to be true, and then people would react to that how they react. And if you believe it, everybody else will believe it. But maybe it would be, I spent so much time worrying about, am I good enough, if I'm pretty enough, or all these kind of things when you're growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wish that I would come and say, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Don't. Just don't do this to yourself.
Yeah. Well, listen, you're definitely good enough. You're absolutely pretty enough. So it's all of us as humans, and especially as actors, we need to get to that point where we just know who we are, and we're not worried about others' opinions of ourselves. Then we can have the freedom to actually do the work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, it was such a pleasure having you on. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Say hi to Ellen, and good luck. Let's see where this whole thing takes you.
You too. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure talking to you. Nobody's asked me these questions before. It was genuinely nice to
Well,
talk to you.
thank you. And this is why, kind of we have the show, because I love acting. I want to talk to actors. I want to get into the reality. And it's not just, hey, did you enjoy working with so and so? What was it like on set? There are plenty of shows that do that. We're not one of them. So thanks to everybody for tuning in. Happy Thanksgiving as you're watching this, today or the day after. We wish everybody to be safe and to be thankful for the gifts that we've gotten in this difficult year, but a year that we have endured and grown and hopefully become better versions of ourselves. Thank you.